Welcome back to the bench, and you might be wondering why I've got this crusty old Vestax mixer. Basically what happened was I had to fix a Master Sounds Radius 2 and I didn't have a record player at the time. I had a problem with the phono input connections. So what does any good audiophile person do? Go on Amazon and get the cheapest record player. So I bought a cheap record player just so I could test the phono. And I forgot how much I enjoyed listening to records. So that record player had a built-in line phono switch on the back. And a friend of mine gave me this QED phono preamp. And I did an A/B, and this actually I thought was a lot better than the inbuilt one on the Audio Technica. And my brother, he's a big Vestax fan, and I was wondering, well, I wonder whether a phono preamp on something like this would be better than either the inbuilt or this QED one. So this one came up for sale on eBay. Its solder's not working. It's got a big bend in the chassis there. I don't know if you can see how grimy it is. It needs a big clean up. And one feature, bug if you like, on this mixer is this PGM isolator. I think it's like a really sharp shelf EQ which uses a PCB board with a load of op amps on it. I'm not really going to be doing any mixing, just really playing one record player, so I only actually need to get one channel working. So I'm probably going to take that circuitry out. That would give the power supply a bit more room to breathe, and who knows, maybe the fault's on that board anyway. Let's find out. Oh, and we've got a screw missing, and looking at the socket's a bit of rust, so God knows what we're going to find inside. Oh, let me show you the back. So, let's have a look. Bottom's okay, a bit dirty, but nothing really corrosive-y. There's some kind of white stuff on that board. I think that's the board that I want to take out anyway. Yeah, so I might just need to give this a bit of a clean up with some isopropyl alcohol. And then let's have a look at the power supply. Okay, nothing to worry about too much. The caps don't look bulged. So the power supply looks okay as well. The fuse is intact. So let's take out that board. So, apparently, according to Daniel Dial Tone, I had to look that up then, there is this connection here, sending to the board. And I think that can connect now in there. And then we have this one returning from the board. Which can go in there. So eliminating my lovely expensive record player signal to come through all these op amps. Let's see what happens if we turn it on. It's getting some signal there somehow. Probably should have left that board in to test it first. Seems to be a screw stuck in here. I don't know whether I can... I can turn that. Yeah. So those are the original screws. I wonder if I've got anything similar. Yeah, that looks pretty identical. Some weird behaviour there. So I should be coming in PGM1, line 1. Well, I can see the signal coming through. Is that in fact a signal coming out of the Q out? Where's the Q output? Guess that's headphones. Okay, so there's sound coming to the monitor. No. Okay, still nothing coming to the main master output though. I think we need to clean all the connections, would be a good idea. Okay, we're getting some signals here now. This shouldn't make any difference at all. It's amazing what a bit of cleaning can do. We've got now sound up the mix. This fader here, I can make it go right side only, so this is a bit dodgy. But apart from that, we are actually getting an output. Just needed a bit of a clean. I might see if I can do some soldering. Let's just quickly go into, is that line 6? No, yeah, on PGM2. That's working perfectly. That's amazing. Okay, so let's just see if we can solder up this maybe. Oh, that was so funny. I was just about to go crazy because it was really noisy. And then I realised I had a microphone gain up. So both of them. That's with neither of them. I did put the program isolator board back in. The low one seems to be a bit temperamental. Oh, see it come back on then. But again, I don't think I want this circuitry in here. Let's just try the other program. And I don't believe this is a true bypass. I'm going to take it out again. Well, I can't tell for sure, but to me, it does seem a lot cleaner. Okay, so everything is actually working. We don't have a trim pot here. I really don't know if I can be bothered to take all that out. I'm only going to be using one phono line as it is. So unfortunately that soldering and cleaning hasn't really helped with this fader here. So you just touch it and it goes right heavy. It's really dodgy. And even this channel comes and goes. However, this fader is absolutely perfect. So I only really want to use this with one turntable. At least I know where I stand with it. I think if I swap that fader for that one, and then I'll have the trim pot there. And then the only thing to make this fully working is 2 more pots there and that trim pot. Okay, so now at least I know exactly where I stand with this little mixer. I'm only using it for one record deck, so this is a good fader. I'm going to swap that over for this one and hope that this phono input works. If it doesn't, because this trim is broken, I might have to swap some pots around. But at least I know now that I can keep an eye out for another pot to replace that one. And we'll find out what sort of faders these are. So let's just swap them around. Days now, and I've been playing my record player through this channel with this one working fader, and the other night I was on eBay and I think I might have found 2 new faders. This pot was down as a headphone pot, which is a 50k analog taper, which is the same as a trim pot, so I don't suspect there'd be any difference in the pot, so hopefully we can put a trim pot in there. And I was also managed to buy a knob cap. So I guess my idea is to put these 2 on the main programs and remove this working but original one into this sub channel. So now that I'm an audiophile, what does any good audiophile do? Go to Amazon and find a cheap record cleaning kit. So I'm not sponsored in any way, just to be sure, but I found this big fudge thing where you get this brush, which I really like because it's curved. So I'll show you that in a sec. You get this brush, which you use to brush the dust off when you're finished. And then you get this thing, which I think is for the needle. But I'd like my fibres to be a bit looser. They're quite like tightly packed together. And also you get this magical record cleaner fluid. Now I've seen one video online where he claims it's just distilled water in there. I don't know if I can get this on camera. Let me try and shake it up. You can definitely see there's some bubbles in there, so it's not just water. He thinks it wasn't even distilled water. Who knows? But anyway, the point is, why I like this so much is because you spray a bit of this magical liquid on, and what I do is I just roll this brush across the record and then lift up. I don't know if you can see there. There's a line of dust, and then obviously not within the record, but you brush the dust off. I'm going to give this another go. And lift off. And we can see there's still a little bit on there. So we brush that off with the brush. Now my brother uses tea towels. Now I think that's a bit fibrous. At least use a lint-free cloth, I think would be a better idea. Okay, there's a little bit of dust there, but that's really good. Now I'm happy to play a record. So that's fantastic, everything is totally working now. It's really good. I did remove the isolator board. I just felt like it wasn't quite as high fidelity with this board installed. But when you removed it, it came back to like a audiophile sound. So yeah, and what I really like about this is that when you're playing records, you're switched off from the internet, and it totally, I find it really nice. And also, having treble, mid and bass, this is what I found when I was fixing the Master Sounds mixer, was you can kind of adjust each track to your taste. And I think that's a really good tool if you're trying to learn mastering, just to have 3 basic components, play lots of records and adjust to your taste, and see if you think it really does sound better than the original. So there's my little journey into vinyl and phono preamps, and yeah, quite a good find, £23 to a nice fully working mixer. So catch you next time.